That's why the situation was so. That's why it lasted so long, because it was so personal. And it's not about nothing with court shit, with none of that shit. We're not going to even address that, but it's nothing to do with that.
I like
My
that pen
apology
he got
was
on. That shit clean.
I wasn't a good brother to her. When Big died, she held me down. And I wasn't acknowledging that the way I was supposed to.
Biggie was the type of person to motivate you. He always wanted you to,
Bro, the kid was so
anyone
beautiful,
to succeed.
He messed her whole appearance up, bro. The kid was so beautiful, bro. One of the ghosts in female hip hop, bro. Come on, Lil Kim, you should have left. It was nothing wrong with you, sweetheart.
He always wanted everybody to have a better life for themselves. He was just hungry. He just wanted to make the album. If he could get 500,000 fans, he used to say he happy.
Check me out right here, yo.
We was like on our way to the parking lot, like waiting for the cars to come out. Our car came first, and we was waiting for Puffy's car to come. So when this car came,
Puff went in the car with Big. Why Big went in the car with Puff?
C's was sitting behind Big, and I was like sitting behind the driver.
Car just rolled up on the right-hand side and just started shooting holes in the door.
Lil Cease just did what nobody saw coming. He finally admitted he was dead wrong about Lil Kim. Yeah, you heard that right. For years, folks painted Kim like she was the villain in Biggie's legacy, like she betrayed him or was just chasing clout after he passed. But now the truth? It's finally cracking through that fake narrative.
Beautiful, bro.
Back in the day, after Biggie died, people turned on Kim quick. They acted like she wasn't loyal, like she ghosted him, or was trying to steal the spotlight. Meanwhile, Lil Cease and the rest of Junior Mafia were out here feeding that exact storyline, boosting headlines, doing interviews, and straight up letting the media eat her alive. And guess what? Fans bought into it. Kim got pushed out of Biggie's legacy like she didn't matter, like she wasn't the one really riding for him even after the grave. But now Cease is flipping the script. He stepped up and said it plain. He helped ruin Kim's image, and he regrets it. He even said she deserves way more credit for holding Biggie down, both while he was alive and long after he was gone. That's major. Kim never stopped repping Big, even when the world was dragging her name through the mud. So let's get into why Cease's apology hits so hard.
Great time, and that's my search for life. Just because we had a little falling out, the love was still there on both sides.
To get it, you gotta understand how deep the beef ran. After Biggie's death in '97, Junior Mafia, his hand-picked crew, just fell apart. It wasn't overnight, but once the money dried up and egos took over, it got ugly. Lines got drawn, people chose sides. And Kim, she got isolated. But the final blow came in 2005, when Kim got caught up in that federal case. She ended up serving time for perjury, lying to a grand jury about a 2001 shootout outside Hot 97. Yeah, that one involving her own crew.
Kim was found guilty of lying to a federal grand jury during the investigation of a shooting outside a New York radio station. Prosecutors say she made up most of her eyewitness testimony about a 2001 fight outside Hot 97. The shooting broke when Little Kim's entourage crossed paths with a rival rap group, injuring one man. Little Kim now faces up to 20 years.
Lil Kim ended up getting hit hard by the system. 1 year behind bars, 30 days of home detention after she got out, and 3 years on probation. She served her time at the Federal Detention Center in Philly and finally walked out free on July 3rd, 2006. But the part that still stings, Lil Cease's role in the whole mess. Now, Cease got up on that stand and testified during her trial, and ever since, he's been out here trying to downplay it like it wasn't that deep. He swears up and down that he didn't really snitch the way the media made it sound. He said, they made it seem like it was something more than it was. But let's be real, when you're on the stand against your own people, that always looks foul.
Facts.
Cease tried to clean it up, saying, it wasn't that serious. Just me being there made it look weird. He also tried to dodge the blame, saying he didn't put Kim behind bars. According to him, nothing he said could have saved her, and her fate was already sealed. He even said, she wasn't in a position where I could have said anything to stop it, and tried to pass the heat onto the people around her, like they were the ones making it look like he flipped. Then he doubled down, saying Kim could have made different choices to avoid all this in the first place. But still, he insisted, ain't nobody from Junior Mafia, not me or anyone, said anything that actually sent her away. Cease thinks no matter what happened, Kim was going to jail because of what she lied about. But from Kim's perspective, that wasn't just a backstab. It was the ultimate betrayal. After all they went through, after Biggie put them on, Cease getting up on that stand felt like he wasn't just turning his back on her, he was turning his back on Biggie's whole legacy. And especially in the world of hip-hop, being seen on the witness stand was the one line you don't cross. Back then, that was the kiss of death to your street rep. No matter how Cease spins it now, to a lot of people he broke the code and left Kim out there to fight it alone. After everything went down, Kim didn't just walk away, she cut them off cold. She completely distanced herself from Junior Mafia and made it crystal clear she wanted nothing to do with Lil Cease. For years, it was straight up silence between them. Cease would pop up in interviews trying to explain, trying to justify what he did, but Kim, she wasn't buying any of it. In her eyes, he sold her out. Period. But the wild part? The media mostly sided with Cease. Kim, the one who actually did time, got painted as bitter, angry, too emotional, hard to work with. Meanwhile, Cease was out here moving like a victim, acting like he was just telling the truth while dodging all that accountability. And let's be honest, his testimony did play a part in sending Kim to prison, no matter how he tries to spin it now. This wasn't just personal beef. This was about loyalty. This was about legacy. And it was also about how way too often black women get thrown under the bus just to keep other people's reputations clean. Kim took the fall while everyone else kept their hands looking squeaky. But then came 2019, and things finally shifted. That year, Kim hosted her annual tribute dinner for Biggie's birthday, and it was packed with people who had been close to him, including every former Junior Mafia member. And that's when something nobody expected went down. Lil Cease got up and gave a public apology to Kim, calling her a real sister and admitting his wrongs right there in front of everyone.
That's real.
You could feel the room freeze for a second.
What made you feel bad? I genuinely apologize. I love you from the bottom of my heart. You like one of my... You are my sister. You're not a real sister, but you're my sister.
God is good.
For life. And I love you, and I thank you for bringing this energy here.
God is good.
And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, bro. For real.
God is good. He's real. God is good.
I owe you that, bro. I've been wanting to say that to you for years. It took a spell.
Later, Kim opened up to Vibe magazine about that night and called it powerful. She said, "It's
still
been a long time
though.
since we've been together on his birthday or doing any event together at all. For me, it was a spiritual awakening. This was his heart. So for me, mending Big's broken heart, putting him back together, is putting all of us back together." Fast forward to Cease's recent interview on Vlad TV, and you could see it. It finally hit him. He got emotional talking about how he wasn't a real brother to Kim.
He was.
He even admitted that after Biggie died, Kim let him crash at her place when he was broke and struggling. That hit different.
And you sit there and understand and told on this woman? And you trying to downplay like, your testimony didn't play a role in it, bro? That's cold-blooded, bro. And that woman still showed you the grace and gave you the respect, bro. Even when you apologize, even though you did wrong, bro. That's cold-blooded, bro.
It reminded everybody watching that no matter how deep the betrayal went, Kim still had love for her people. She always looked out, even when they didn't do the same for her.
You know, just how did it feel to finally put that behind you? Because y'all is, like you said, it might not be your blood sister, but that's your sister.
I knew her before I knew Big.
Damn. And you told on her?
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I knew Kim before I knew Big. That's why the situation was so, that's why it lasted so long, because it was so personal. It's not about nothing with court shit, none of that shit. We're not going to even address that, but it's nothing to do with that. My apology was I wasn't a good brother to her. I made some wrong moves, some bad mistakes, and that was just the perfect time to do that. You know, I didn't plan that. We was all having a great time, and and I just know the comfort she needed because I know her. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to let her know that. I wanted to let all the people around know that. You know what I'm saying? And I just felt like that's what I wanted to do, and she deserved that. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times, when Big died, she held me down. And I wasn't acknowledging that the way I was supposed to. And then we had other little situations that kind of separated us, and other people that separated us, and we was too stubborn. People just let us on. And, and we just let God work. And God worked, and one day she hit me, and we talked like nothing ever happened. And she had a plan that she wanted to do this dinner. She said she wanted to put Big Heart back together. And putting his heart back together was getting all his peoples together.
That's crazy.
And we all got together.
All
me, her, the whole Junior Mafia, D-Rock, and C Gutter. He was locked up for 16 years, so he was home to be there for that. Rube, just our whole team, like everybody that we started with was at that dinner. So I felt like that was the appropriate time to do it, and I needed to do that for her. And I wanted to do it for her. You know what I'm saying? I just felt like that was a great time. And, that's my sis for life. Just because we had a little falling out, the love was still there on both sides.
Lil Cease's apology didn't just clear the air, it flipped the whole narrative. Suddenly fans were waking up, realizing maybe they judged Lil Kim way too fast. Maybe her truth had been buried for way too long, and once people started listening, everything changed. Let's talk about how Kim really kept Biggie's name alive, even when it felt like the whole industry was trying to erase her like she never mattered. Kim never let Big fade into the background. Go back and listen to her albums. She was always shouting him out, paying respect, keeping his name ringing through every era. On her second album, The Notorious K.I.M., Kim dropped a raw tribute called Hold On, featuring Mary J. Blige. That track? Straight from the soul. She compared the pain of losing Big to the pain of childbirth. That deep.
Damn.
And if you've ever seen that video of her at Biggie's funeral, you know she wasn't faking it. That emotion, that was real love. And Kim didn't stop there. On that same track, she called out some of Biggie's so-called industry friends, people who were eating off his death. You can guess who she was really aiming at.
Diddy.
While folks were busy chasing clout using Big's name, Kim was the one who stayed true. Over the years, she showed up and showed out for Biggie.
A woman can
Countless
always hold you
tribute
down.
shows, anniversary performances, and real-life moments where she brought his legacy back to life.
Well, happy 50th. Happy Biggie 50th. One thing about little Kim, she gonna ride for some B.I.G.
That's right.
And I'm so happy to see everybody here. I mean, the whole family. Tiana, CJ, you know, you guys are my hearts.
In 2016, she dropped I Did It for Brooklyn with Mono, a full tribute to Big in the borough that made him a legend. She wasn't just repping for the music, she was repping for his spirit, and she didn't stop with the music. Kim's been the one organizing those family-style dinners in Biggie's honor, gatherings that brought together people who hadn't spoken in years. She even invited folks she'd beefed with, just to keep the focus on Biggie. Who does that? You don't see many male rappers swallowing their pride like that. Kim did what others wouldn't. But even with all that love and loyalty, Kim got misread for years. After Big passed, people either erased her from the story or tried to shrink her role down like she was just some side act. But truth is, Kim was central. She never needed to ride Biggie's name. She protected it long after everyone else cashed in and dipped out. Let's not forget, Lil Kim didn't meet Biggie when he was some chart-topping rap icon. She knew him before all that, back when he was just Christopher from Brooklyn. He believed in her from the jump and brought her with him on the come-up. That alone shows how deep their bond really ran. It wasn't no clout move, she was family. Now over the years, haters tried to push this tired lie that Biggie wrote all of Kim's bars, like she couldn't stand on her own. Yeah, he helped guide her early on, as any mentor would. But let's be real, Kim's pen game? Undeniable. Anybody who actually listened to her verses knows she was out-rapping most dudes in the game. She helped build the foundation of female rap. No Kim, then there's no Nicki, no Cardi, no Megan. Straight like that. But even with all she did, the media kept playing her like she was disposable. When that Notorious movie dropped in 2009, Kim was livid. They twisted her whole story, turning her into some dramatic side piece when in real life she was one of the closest people to Big, both creatively and personally.
Never involved with the movie. I was never, but the movie went into green light and I didn't even know about it. You know, how can you write, this is my dispute with this. Like, how can you write a movie about somebody's life and you don't even talk to them? Like, that's
how can they get your dialogue too? Like, if there was situations, okay, well, this is what happened. Like, if it was a big event,
right?
Then they say, okay, well, but how could they get just every word?
Yeah, like how,
this is what
how
she
do you
said.
know how I touch Biggie? How do you know how we kissed? How do you know how we talked? How do you know what, like, there were certain things that we did intimately that no one would ever know except for me and him. Right. You know? And so after the movie went down and, you know, they already picked who they wanted to pick and, you know, they already greenlit the movie and they were already shooting in Brooklyn, I went down there with my lawyers flipping. Like, you know, what the heck is going on?
Have you seen the movie yet?
I've seen a little bit of it.
Is it hard for you to even watch it?
It's hard for me to even watch it because it's so far-fetched from the truth. I mean, the stories of even him and Faith, and it's so far-fetched from the truth. This story is ridiculously funny. It's like a spoof to me.
And it didn't stop there. Kim also got caught in the middle of label politics and power plays. Remember Monica's track Anything to Find You? Kim laid down a verse for it, but out of nowhere, it got yanked last minute over clearance drama. The issue...
Bro, look at Lil Kim, bro.
Track Anything to Find You? Kim laid down a verse for it, but out of nowhere...
Look at that, bro. Kanye say a bar, the realest bar I ever heard. He said they made us hate ourselves to love they wealth. Something like that on that. it all falls down. Bro, look at that woman, bro. Beautiful. Look what she did to herself, bro. Damn, bro.
It got yanked last minute over clearance drama. The issue, Biggie's estate, which at the time was controlled by his mother, Valletta Wallace. Monica took to social media and didn't hold back. She wrote, "I'm just finding out what has happened to my single, and myself and Missy are beyond hurt that Lil Kim was removed. She's our friend, a legend, and Lil Kim will get the respect she deserves at all costs." Monica even said she was fighting to get the track reinstated by Big's birthday. But later she came back and clarified the truth. "I am as thorough as they come, and I love Lil Kim. Bottom line, Ms. Wallace has the final say, and she said no. If we put it out, we get sued." That situation hurt. But what did Kim do when Valletta Wallace passed in February? She showed up. She went to the funeral, stood with the family, and once again, proved she can take the high road, even when she's been iced out and disrespected. That's grown woman stuff right there. No pettiness, just loyalty, always. And that's the thing about Lil Kim. She never stopped showing love, even when she had every reason to turn her back. The industry kept trying to shut her out, rewrite her story, act like she was just a footnote in Biggie's legacy, but she kept rising, quietly but powerfully. See, while others were out here making documentaries and getting praise for barely knowing Big, Kim was the one who lived it. She was there in the trenches, in the studio, at the shows, and through the chaos. She wasn't just some girl he knew. She was his creative partner, his muse, and sometimes his mirror. They had that kind of complicated love that couldn't be explained in a tabloid headline, and no biopic could ever capture it right. Even in interviews, Kim rarely ever throws dirt. She's not naming names, she's not chasing headlines. She just stays in her lane and lets the truth speak for itself. That's why when Cease finally broke down and admitted he messed up, fans really felt it. Because Kim never begged for validation. She never tried to force people to see her side. She just kept it real. And waited. And let's talk about the female rap space for a sec. So many of today's stars owe their whole blueprint to Kim, even if they won't say it out loud.
Facts.
The style, Kim did it first. The bars, Kim had them. The fashion, please. Kim walked so every other female rapper could strut the carpet in full designer without blinking. She was the one mixing sex appeal with hardcore bars before it was trendy. And yet, for years, the industry treated her like she was disposable. But even with all that shade, Kim never stopped. She kept performing, kept building her brand, and kept honoring Big's memory in ways that were authentic and full of heart. She never tried to profit off his name the way others did. Everything she did came from love. And now? With Lil Cease owning up to his part, and the public finally reevaluating Kim's story, she's getting that overdue respect. People are realizing that maybe the villain wasn't Kim. Maybe she was just the only one who kept it 100 from the start. Because at the end of the day, Lil Kim didn't just survive the game, she defined it, and the fact that she did it while getting stabbed in the back, erased from credits, and sidelined by people she once called family, that's the real story. Let's keep it real. A lot of the hate Lil Kim got over the years was rooted in straight-up misogyny. They called her disloyal, crazy, fake, tried to break her down every way they could. But when you really look at the facts, Kim was one of the only ones who truly held Biggie down from day one to his very last breath, and long after that. While folks were chasing headlines and deals, Kim kept showing up. Not just in her music, but in how she moved, the tributes, the events, the love. That wasn't for show. That was real loyalty. She didn't just say Biggie's name, she protected it when no one else would. And now, people are finally starting to get it. That apology from Lil Cease wasn't just about burying old beef, it was about finally clearing the air and giving Kim the flowers she should have had years ago. That moment was bigger than just two former friends making peace, it was about setting the record straight. But now it's your turn. How do you...
Man, shout out to Lil Kim, man, she deserves her flowers. She's a GOAT female artist, bro. Like you said, like Nicki Minaj, all these female rappers, bro, Megan Stallion, all these women, bro, like, won't be nothing when not Lil Kim, bro. So shout out to Miss Kim.